Hello there guys, and welcome to the next episode of TradeSkillMaster, or the TradeSkillMaster guide that I've been doing. Now, hopefully we can carry on from here. We're going to have a look at some in-depth operations, some bit more than just this is the DB market, and we'll carry on from there, see where it leads us. So stay tuned guys, and we'll get this rocking and rolling. So here we are, back in Orgrimmar, back at the auction house, carrying on with some TradeSkillMaster. In the last couple of videos, we got the add-on installed. We set up a few basic groups. We got some auctions done. Hopefully, the stuff you've put on an auction from there have sold. Thank you all for your comments, and I've had a few messages about it. It's helped a few people already, which is always good to hear. What I want to have a little look at now is something called custom prices. Now, this is something that
come back anytime.
I will. You'll come across if you're using the likes of Shay's profile, something like that. Okay. It's a wonderful little tab here, custom price sources. What this allows you to do is to generate a. Let's have a look at this one here, Shay Mac or Shay Norm. This is Shay's normal string. Okay. It's a max, 200% max, crafting, average buy divided by 0.95, 105%, 150% first, DB market, DB historical, DB region market, and it goes on and on and on. It's quite complicated. Now, all this is a sum. It's a basic mathematical operation. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the world's most au fait of all of this. However, we'll break it down. And it has some examples in the little box on the side here, so it's probably the easiest way of doing it. As you can see here, max, bracket, 200% max, open bracket, crafting and average buy. So what it's basically doing is it's saying, right, and again, if you remember your high school, brackets, over division, multiplication, addition and subtraction, so we're going to be done in that order, BODMAS as we were always taught it. What this is looking at is saying, right, I want to list my normal price for whatever has Shay Norm as my price, is going to be the maximum figure of all of these. Okay, so 200% of crafting cost, or 200% of average buy divided by 0.95. So whatever's the most, whichever's most expensive between crafting and the average buy price, divided by 0.95 is going to be, then doubled I should say, is going to be what that part is. That's going to be one figure. Okay, then you put a comma, closes the comma off. 0.95 is actually really important as well. If you were to purchase something for 100 gold and then you sold it for 102 gold, you'd think, awesome, I've made 2 gold profit. No, you've actually made about 3 gold loss, because the auction house take a cut. So when you sell something on the auction house, you want to make sure that the amount of gold that you get in your bank or in your mailbox once that item sells is more than you physically paid out to buy the item. So you buy something for 100 gold, you want to be selling it for at least 106% of whatever it was. So 0.95 is, they've put there with a 200% marker, so it's going to be above that. Okay. Again, it's changeable depending how aggressive you want to be. I will actually put a link to Shayra's own video on how to customize her own profile. So if you are using Shay's commands and Shay's strings, she explains them in great detail. But this is obviously just an example. Now, say I wanted to create a custom price source myself. Okay, so go right. You load up TSM. You go to the custom price sources screen, and first thing you'll see if you don't have anything in here will be this new custom price source. Custom price sources allow you to create more advanced custom prices throughout all of the modules. So it's basically saying I've got this specific string and I want to use it for a lot of things. Okay, so first things first. Now I had to reinstall, so I don't have my old profile on here, which is a bit sad. But say I want to, because I don't think I've set any operations for this yet. No, I haven't. Right, okay, so we're going to use the Antaurus BOEs. This is a new group that I've put in recently. This is all of the, or it will be when I actually import all the stuff. It's going to be all the BOE items that you get dropping in the Antaurus raid. Okay? I've got the list. Oh, there they are. I thought they were in there. All the 110 BOE epics. Warforged, Titan Forged, the Raid Finder versions, and yeah, there's lots and lots of them, all the different variants. It was found online. I'll have to have a look and see if I can find the listing, because it's a really, really good input group, but it's basically all in there. So what we do, we go to custom price sources. Now, we're going to call this Antaurus. No, we can't. We're going to call it Ant, because we can't use the name of the source to be the same as one of the groups or the operations. Remember that. So, ANT. Okay. This brings us to the custom price source details. Now, a very basic custom price source that I always used to use is, I believe, the average of DB market, DB market, DB market, that's 3 times, region market average, I believe, close brackets. Now it's probably going to throw errors out at me now. Yeah, region market average isn't a legit one. I can never remember the name for this one.
Blood and thunder.
So what we're going to do is, let me just come out of that for a second. /TSM sources. DB region market average. I always miss the DB bit. Right, so if we go back to TSM, just like that. You can tell I'm doing this on the cuff. Back to our custom price sources, ANT. Right, so AVG, DB market, DB market, DB market, DB region market, AVG. Close bracket. There we go. No errors in that one. Right, so it's a very simple string. I use this for a lot of things. If I'm not being very if I'm not being too cutthroat, if I'm not being very aggressive pricing, I just want to get something sold. And to be fair, this is something I should be using at the minute, because the auction house API is all over the place at the moment. It's not working full stop. So all the prices that we have as TSM users, for example, if I look at this piece of transmog here, Praetorian Pauldrons of the Monkey, which, to be honest, I quite like them. I do like those reskins of the old Rogue T1 set. So, but those are listed at the moment as a region minimum buyout of just over £1,000. Minimum buyout 309. But my data's 2 weeks, 10 hours old, because the auction house API is not working. So I'm having to run a scan every now and again, and all that does is update this top number, this minimum buyout. So it throws all the numbers that we're using into whack. So a lot of the custom strings that you'll find won't work very well at the moment. It's relying on very old information. Now, what we've got here is going, right, I want, and I'll break this one down for you. This string, a very, very basic one. And again, I would strongly recommend having a look through TSM/TSM sources. It'll print out to your chat frame like it does here all of the individual pricing sources that you can use here. Okay, and like I said, when you click on the box, it'll come up with a little guide at the side. Percentage of price source. You can turn around and go an average of the DB market. So DB market, like we said in the last video, is my server. In this case, it's Draenor. It's whatever your server is. Your server's price, your server's price, your server's price, and, in my case, the European average. So it's taking my server 3 times, adding on the European average for the item, and then dividing it all by 4. Just averaging it out. Nice and simple. And that will give me a figure. So if I was to turn around, let me have a look at, I don't think I actually have any of the Antaurus stuff. I certainly don't have it on my bank alt at the minute, but if I was to go to the groups, go to the Antaurus stuff, items, right, there we go. As you can see, the tooltip for this 950 Titan Forged with Leech Crit Versatility Cloth set of shoulders is, well, like I said, not scanned. TSM Autumn Data not scanned, so there's no information there for it. Region market value average as of the last check was 168,281 gold. Alright. Now, if I go to operations, auctioning, new operation, and I just call it Antora stuff. Okay, would I like to add this new operation to Antaurus? Yes, I would. You go to post. This is how you use your new pricing source. Minimum price. Ant. That's it. ANT. So I want that. Maximum price, 200% ant. And again, you can use any modifiers that you want. Normal price, ant. In fact, I want minimum price to be 75% ant. There we go. So what I'm now doing is saying, right, my lowest price is 75% of whatever this works out as. And for the maximum, which I think I put 200, it'll be double whatever that number comes out as. Okay? So if I go back to our Antaurus group, it might not update properly just due to the way the bits and pieces are as far as TSM's back end is at the minute. But as you can see, Operation 1, Antaurus stuff, posting 1 stack of 1 for 24 hours. As it says here, with the ANTs. Alright, so if we go to the items for that group, items, groups, items, there it is. There we go. If you look at the tooltip there for this corrupted mantle of the Fell Seekers, it now has my minimum, normal and maximum prices based on the current information. So the region minimum buyer average is 137,000 gold. But again, it's not scanned, so don't pay much attention to that right now. The region market average, so European average as it stands right now, is 43,860. Let's call it 44k. It's only a 930. They've tanked a lot in price recently. Now the TSM auctioning data that's underneath there, this is now based on what I've told it to do. It'll sell this item if I happen to get it dropped, which it's cloth, it probably wouldn't. I will be looking to sell this for a minimum amount of 32,902 gold, 25 silver, 74 copper. A maximum of just under 87, or just under 87,350, and a normal price, my average price for posting it would be the same as the region market value, 43869. Okay, and you can get into as much depth as you want with this. So again, if you go to your custom price sources, in fact, what we'll do, let's have a little look at the crafted Legion blacksmithing. We'll look at the 7.3 chests. Okay, some operations that already came along here. If we look at the posting, again using Shane Min, Shane Max, Shane Norm. So go to your options, go to your features. Sorry, back to your custom price sources. Shay's gone, like I said, she's gone into a bit of an in-depth string. So we're going to have a look at the bits and bobs here. Now, first is basically saying, work this out. Okay, it's doing it in order. So again, it's the maximum amount of whatever comes next. And it's basically saying, right, whichever one of these is real, first, use it. Okay? So it's saying 105% of max. So that is to make sure that there's a bit of profit in it, of the crafting. Is it a craftable item? If it has crafting, it'll check, is this item something you're craft? Is it a crafted item? Have you crafted it yourself? Can it have a look through the database, find out the mats that are used to make it, price of the mats, which again, TSM does all this in the background for you. If it's not a crafted item, if it's just again, take an Antaurus raid drop as an example, it's not a crafted item, it'll skip that, and it'll go, right, average buy price, and it'll go, right, that's legit, so it'll go 105% of the maximum average buy price, divide that by 0.95, and it'll give you a figure, okay? If there isn't an average buy price, it'll go, right, I want 70% of the first of either the DB market, which is the sort of the last 2 weeks, DB historical, which is older data, DB region market, the DB region market average, which is the European price, DB region historical, so this is the European historical data for the auction house, global market average, which is the worldwide average price, and then DB global historical, which is, has this ever appeared on an auction house in World of Warcraft at all? And then Failing all of that, at the very end it'll go, right, okay, so what's the vendor sell price? Divide that by 0.95, so you're selling it for 105% of what the vendor's going to give you, essentially. And it's going through all of these methods. And rather than having to have a really big chain like this, you're saying, right, in this case, it's Shay-Min. Anytime you use the word Shay-Min, when you've got that in there, that's what it'll do. Okay? So if you go back to some of these groups, the operations, I mean, there's one here. View the operation options. That's what she's doing. Alright? So for these ones, really simple. There are some others, like these minimum price. These are very dynamic. 106%, which is the guaranteed profit part. Okay, of the crafting cost of whatever this item is, plus the crafting cost of this item, plus this item, and doing that. So it's looking at each individual item, and again, this is something that you can place into the strings and saying, right, I want you to look at the crafting cost of this, and I want to sell it for 110% of what it's going to cost me, okay, but of this item. And it'll do it that way. Average buy market value singles is another one we've got here. First of which one of these? Again, same as one of the original strings. I'm trying to find one of the specific ones. No, I don't think they're in here. I'll have to go through them all and have a proper dig and see if I can find one. I'll put it up in the comments. But it's just the whole point of this video, like I say, is just to give you an idea of what you can do, how far down the rabbit hole you can go. I certainly do not take credit for groups like this. I do not have the patience to sit and generate all of these individual groups, going through all the items, you know, leatherworking bags, drums of fury, rage and war. Oh, yeah. Crafted average by singles, first aid stuff, cooking stuff, recipes, toys, TCG mounts. Just to be fair, I wanted to have a little look at that. TCG mounts, items, big battle bear sells for gold cap basically at max for 4 to 6 million plus. Amani Dragonhawk 8 million. Feldrake. Average region sale 420k. Someone got a bargain with that. Normal price is about just under 4. Corrupted Hippogriff just under the gold cap, 9.9. X51 Nether Rocket Extreme 5 mil. Swift Spectral Tiger, just no. The last one of these I saw on the auction house was for 9,999,000 gold. It was for the gold cap basically. The normal one, there you go. Region market value average is the gold cap. Full stop. Coming up at 9,999,999 gold. You know, things like that. These are no longer available, so the price for these, as the gold cap increases, the price for these is just going to go up and up and up. Simple as, you know, there's no getting around it. But Shay, like I say, and I'll full credit to Shay Ra, however you want to pronounce her name. Full credit goes to her for the groups and 95% of the operations that I'm using. If, and I can't stress this enough, I really can't, if you're going to go ahead and use someone else's TradeSkillMaster profile, which there's nothing wrong with doing it, hey, I do it. Most people I know who use TSM used Shay Ra's profile as a starting off point. The TSM Discord, a lot of the users in there use her profile as a starting off point. Before you start dropping in lots and lots and lots of gold into the auction house and start really playing it being a goblin, go through the TradeSkillMaster help files on TradeSkillMaster.com. Go through some of the guides that you find online, on YouTube, on their website, on the consortium, all sorts of things like that. Have a good read up. It's well worth understanding how Shay's profile strings, how the auction posting strings saying what I want the price to be, how they work. This is very, very important, because we're moving into 8.0 soon. As of last night, then we've got the pre-release for Battle for Azeroth, and now this is the point where you've got more people coming back to the game. So right now, getting in on Hexweave bags is brilliant. I've just sold 3 of them this morning, just before I started recording this. I just sold 3 Hexweave bags. Only had 3 on me, I need to stockpile some. And that was 9,000 gold for 3 items. And they were sat in my bank ready for the next expansion. I was going to build up about 40 or 50 of them and basically spread them out 4 or 5 a day until they sell, stick another 4 or 5 on over the first couple of days of 8.0, because people come back, people want new characters, people want bags. Simple as that. People want to have new bags and they want to have the biggest one. So I sold 3, in fact there was 4 items, I tell a lie, 3 Hexweaves and a Netherweave bag. They went straight away. They were posted, and within about 30 seconds they'd all sold all to different people. So it wasn't that I underpriced them, they weren't sniped, they literally went to different people that quickly. So yeah, well worthwhile. Something to have a little look at. But yeah, groups like this, by all means, use them as a starting off point. If you are happy that come the next expansion, you're going to have to go through all of these operations here. And there's a lot of them. You're going to have to go through some of them, and you're going to have to change them. Because Shay's already said, come the next expansion, she's not updating this anymore. She's not doing it. She's not keeping her pastebin profile up to date from now on. This one that I'm using now, the 7.3.5 update, is the last one. So it is something that you need to, I would suggest, and this is the gold making mindset. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get yourself into a position where you've got, like I have at the moment, it's because I've just picked up a load of expires. I've got loads of junk because I've actually been using some of these groups to try and offload a load of the pants rubbish I've got sat in some of my alt banks. Old transmog, like I say, black dark moon cards that I've had for donkey's years. They'll sell eventually and they cost very little to list, so I'll just keep them rotating. But don't get into the situation where you're sat there going, right, okay, I'm going to sell battle pets, I'm going to sell transmog, and I'm going to sell this and this and this and this and this and this and this, because you see you've got all of these groups. I don't use most of these groups. They're there, so I've got the data and the information on tooltips. That's the main thing for me. I don't do anything with leatherworking. I don't do much with jewel crafting, apart from the odd cut gem. I mean, I don't have the patience to go farming Empyreum, which I really, really should. So I normally only have about 10 of each colour epic gem on my jewel crafter anyway, and I use them for guys in the raid. Things like the blacksmithing auction house stuff, no, I don't really do it. Engineering I do, because I put what they call sky golems up every now and again, so I like the engineering group. And Taurus is a big one that I use, or I will be. Enchanting every now and again. Alchemy's my main one. Most of my bits and bobs come from flasks now. Again, have a look at the list. See if you've got a profession that's going to make you some money. Go through it all. Again, you've got the crafting options here. Log into each of your characters. Now, if I was to go blacksmithing as an example, my warrior blacksmiths. Now, if I change this to percentage, supposedly, and you've got to be sensible with it, I could make a Pyrium weapon chain. It would cost me 9 gold to make, and I could sell it for $1,000. That's 110,943. To call it 11,000% profit. Only takes 1 Pyrium bar. However, 0.02 of those sell a day. So one of them is going to take me months probably to sell. What's the point? You've got to be careful with it. So if you were to scroll down to, say, 70%, tempered Saronite boots, 0.01. No, this is transmog stuff. True steel boots, no. And again, we're getting into things with losses here. Now, all of these use mats that I haven't set up correctly. True steel, all of these mats, even though they're soulbound, they have a price, or an effective price, which we can put in there at some point as well. Let's have a little look. What do we have for Legion? Demon Steel. There we go. Demon Steel breastplate. Classic. 110. It will cost me around about 4,000 gold in mats to make. 80 laystone ore, 60 demon steel bars. Yet they only sell for £1,000. So it's a 76% loss. Why would I do that? Why bother? There's no point to it. So you want to make sure that if you're crafting something, profits in green. Don't go nuts. Don't go too high. Don't go looking, oh, well, I'm going to get, 10,000 profit here for an adamantite weightstone. I don't think anyone really buys them, to be fair, seeing as it can't be used on anything over item level 200, but there we go. Shade steel braces, 0.02. Shoulders are normally quite good if they're like these. 0.06. Yeah, they're not going to sell massively. The Imperial plate set, because these are transmog stuff. Now, if I was to, and this is the other one, you can click on them. See how these now have ones next to them? That means it's added it to my crafting queue, which I'm going to have to clear afterwards. Because if I log on to my blacksmith now, in fact, let's do that. Let's log on to my blacksmith. There he is. So I log on to my blacksmith now. We wait half an hour for it to load. And what I am going to have to do is put my Biffa advertisement up, because I am an officer in my guild and I don't know what's going on in the chat. So there's my little icon. There we go, there's my little icon for the new expansion when it comes out. We're calling it Biffa from now on the stream. And every time someone says Biffa, I put up the truck. And again, this is just, it's taking its time to load, but we're getting there. There we go. Right, so we are in the game. Give it a moment for all the item caching to do its thing. Oh, we're getting there. Right, okay. There we are. So we go. Don't even need to do TSM. Go there, go blacksmithing. And all of those items that you've decided you want to make are now in my crafting queue. They're all there ready. And underneath it tells me precisely what I need. If it's in green, it means I've got it on me. If it's yellow, it means I've got it on my account. If it's red, it means I need to go get it. Now, if I had all of this stuff, that's basically 7,000 gold's worth of gear. It thinks I can sell it for 116,000. And that's including a failing detection pylon and 2 flasks. I don't think that's right, in truth. You've got to take it with a bit of salt. You can't just jump in and go, it says it's going to make me some money, let's go make it. You've got to be careful. But that's essentially the crafting side of it. Now let's get back on the bank. If it ever logs me out. There we go, we can get rid of Biffa now. But yeah, I mean, that's the basic idea. That's got completely sidetracked into crafting there, which was actually meant to be a video all on its own. We'll do that in a bit more detail, probably 2 or 3 episodes down the line. But that is the basics of some of the advanced operations. I have had a request on YouTube as well to do a video on flipping. Now, flipping, for anyone who's not sure, is the act of buying something cheap to sell it for more than you paid for it. I'll do a brief follow-on video over the next couple of days on that, with a string that can be used to make sure that whatever you buy from the auction house, when you try and sell it, as long as you make sure you use this string, you're not going to ever sell it for a loss. You may only make 1 copper's worth of profit, but you're still going to sell it for more than you paid for after the auction house cut. Okay, I'll do that as a new video some point soon. Once again, guys, thank you for popping round. It's good to see videos on the channel. I mean, we've had a massive uptake of viewers recently. The viewer count's gone up through the roof, which is always nice to see. If there's anything specific TSM-wise that you're wanting a bit of knowledge on, I'm not going to promise that I know the answer, but I can always find out. There's plenty of people I can ask. You've got the TSM and WoW Economy subreddit, worth looking at. They've got their own Discord group as well, always worth a jump in there. If you've got any questions, those guys are some of the most helpful people when it comes to making gold in this game I've ever come across. Just don't go in and ask them a silly question such as, how can I make lots of gold? It's not going to happen. And you've probably noticed I don't have the camera on today. That's because I'm in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood because of that. WoW tokens, since the announcement of Biffa last night, pre-order, WoW token price went up through the roof. I was sat thinking, right, they're about 260,000 gold. You're going to be looking probably about 40-45 quid for the pre-release. I'll dump $500,000 to $750,000 into WoW tokens, 20-30 quid's worth, and then I'll just top up the rest with a bit of cash, because I don't want to leave myself to the point where I don't have the gold. And then I looked last night, and the WoW tokens were at 377,000. I had a look this morning, they peaked at 406,000 gold. They've come back down now, they're stabilising, appear to be stabilising a bit, down at 341,000. But yeah, it put me in a bit of a bad mood this morning, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, you'll find that WoW tokens, that's another video in itself, explaining how the economics of WoW tokens work. Again, I'm not a student of economics, I just read a lot. I'll see if I can do a video on how WoW tokens work on the economy side of it, because that's something quite interesting. It is very, very much supply and demand. But I've got to get some graphics done for that, and they take time. So, well, either way, before I get sidetracked into 600 or 700 other things, thank you for popping by. If you've stayed on the video for this long, I've kept you here for about half an hour. Thank you very much for hanging around. If you've got any questions, you know, by all means, leave them below. Leave me a comment below with your custom strings. Let me know how you're using it. Go to the auction house, create a custom pricing string, and create a group with one item that you know is worth an okay amount, not something ridiculously expensive or very uncommon, something that you know will sell, like a flask. Set an auction up to sell one flask with your custom pricing string. Give it a couple of days, give it 24-48 hours on the auction house. Come back, tell me how you did, how much you paid, how much you posted it for. You know, if you bought the mats, how much did the mats cost, and how much you put it on the auction house for. What were your three numbers, like I said from the tooltip, your minimum, normal, and maximum prices, and then let me know how it did. Okay. As always, guys, if you like the videos, if it's been helpful, follow, subscribe along, hit the little notification bell. It helps massively, because obviously it gives me a little bit of an idea, and it inputs to me how many people we've got engaging with the channel, who's watching the video, who's interested in this sort of thing. Thumbs up if you like it. If you didn't like it, thumbs it down. If you do thumbs it down, just let me know why. Thanks, guys. Have a great one, and I will see you all in the next video.